I'm so excited that you guys have some new music out. It's your 13th studio album. Heaven Comes Down is out now. What are some themes you guys explore on this album?
Um, well, I think this record's very different than the last Dokken records. I try to make every song, as you see, a story, like Santa Fe or Fugitive or Saving Grace. I didn't feel the need to repeat myself after, 40 years of just talking about baby, baby, why'd you leave me? I'm so blue. So, I guess COVID was bad, but it was kind of a blessing because it gave us 2 years to finish the record, you know.
Yeah.
So that kind of worked out. So it gave us 2 years of no touring to spend more time on the record and make it perfect. I'm a little neurotic. I probably rewrote every song on this record 3 times. I did. I get it done. I go, okay, next song. Then I go back to a couple of days later and I go, I can do better than that. I can write better lyrics than that. So I tried.
Well, Fugitive is the first single off the album. What is it about this song that really stood out to you and made you want to drop it as the first single?
Well, because it rocks for one thing. I
It
didn't want to come
does.
out with a ballad. And then I wanted to do something different instead of the typical, live performance. Yes, I picked Fugitive because it rocks. And I wanted to do something different this time. Uh, so we found a place. It happens to be in Santa Fe called Meow Wolf. That's why the video is so trippy, changing environments every shot. And we got to rent this place called Meow Wolf. There's like 5 of them now. They're
Cool.
just art installations, one in Denver, one in Vegas. The first one though was in Santa Fe. Actually, George R. R. Martin, the guy that wrote Game of Thrones, gave him $1 million. They took an old shopping center and they got all these artists together and built all those trippy environments as art. So I thought it'd be a good place to film. It's very easy to just go to a stage and set up some lights and a PA and I just thought everybody does it. And my worry was, social media now is so people just click on a video, watch for 10 seconds, go to that next one, watch for 10 seconds, go to the next one. So I wanted the video for people to be engaged. It was constantly changing. And that's probably why we have 700,000 hits right now.
Yeah.
700,000.
I was going to say this song is so well received. There's, as they say, it's a viral
Mind
hit.
boggling. Yeah, it's a viral hit. I see all these videos of even big name bands and they get, 50,000, 100,000. And I said, we got to make something that people want to watch it from the beginning to the end. I've done many podcasts and people said, we have to, I had to go back and watch it 3 times because I couldn't catch so much going on.
Yeah. Well, I love the lyrics for this song as well. I think that um, you've mentioned it well when you said, I've become like many these days a fugitive from life. I think that's what people tend to resonate with it as well. Is that what you've heard from people who've listened to Fugitive?
Yeah, it was actually the last record we wrote on the record. Mm, and we had a concert in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I live. So I told the band, why don't you guys come in a day early? Because they kept asking me, why'd you leave LA after being there your whole life? And I said, I've just had enough, the Beverly Hills, Sunset Boulevard, Rainbow Whiskey. I wanted peace and quiet. And I found this kind of an old church looking place with like a chapel, and it was
Mhm.
way high up in a mountain in the middle of nowhere. I have no neighbors, thousands of trees around me. I can look out anywhere in my house, and I don't see another house.
Wow.
As opposed to live in LA, where do you live?
I'm in Fort Lauderdale.
Well, you probably have a house next to the right, and you have a house to the left, and 5 feet away. And I lived in LA my whole life. I never thought I'd leave. So we had this one last song, and when John and the boys, Chris and DJ came to my house the day for the concert, John mentioned, I said, I got this one killer song that he wrote it. And I said, I got no lyrics. And when he saw the house, he goes, boy, you really are a fugitive from life, because I'm so far in the boonies. My driveway's a mile long. And I went, that'd be a good title for a song. And that's how it came about.
Well, I really love that particular song off the album. Do you have any other personal favorites that really are a favorite for you, or maybe that hold a special significance for you?
Mm, I like Saving Grace. Most of the lyrics on this album all came from, I don't just sit down in the morning, have coffee, and start writing. That's not the way I work. I have to be inspired by the universe or something. And, sometimes I go in the studio and start working with the producer, Bill Palmer, and I go, I got nothing, Bill. So I try, try to write. I go, I got nothing tonight. And then sometimes I go, we got to get up here. I got like three ideas. So Saving Grace was like a good song about, we were just talking about relationships and how everybody goes through them. Some fail, some succeed. And that's when I came up with the metaphor of saving grace. I guess they left it in that other place, which was my way of saying, being a typical male, it's always their fault. It's their fault when the relationship fails. And I started thinking, you know what? The more I think about my life, it was probably mostly my fault.
You finally
you know,
become self-aware.
that's what the song was kind of about. Yeah, it took me a while. It only took me 7 years. We actually finished this record a year ago. I gave the record company the album a year ago. So we were very frustrated. I'm like, let's get it out. We want to go on tour this summer. And Silver Lining said, we don't want you playing any new songs. And I went, what? I mean, we want to play the new songs. But I understood what they meant. People have iPhones now, and we'll play a new song, and they're going to end up holding up the iPhone, recording a horrible sounding recording of it, and put it up on the internet, and people will go, oh, that sounds like crap. So that's why we haven't played any new songs, period. Now we're off for 2 months. And then I said, I can't wait to do another concert so we can play some new songs. The dilemma is, I'll ask you, we play an hour and a half, 2 hours. What songs do we get rid of? Do we get rid of Into the Fire? Do we get rid of The Hunter? Do we get rid of Alone Again? Do we get rid of Breaking the Chains? Because we have like our whole set list is just
Sure.
hit, 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 hit. Thank God we had enough hits. Unlike some bands, they had their one or two hits, and then they just play a bunch of songs that nobody knows. So it's going to be a dilemma. We're going to have to really think about, if I want to play Fugitive, what do I get rid of? Into the Fire, The Hunter? I don't know. So we'll just have to see how it goes. And of course, there'll be people in the audience that won't recognize the song if they haven't got the record. I literally, just before I called you, after a year, the truck was pulling up DHL to finally bring me some copies of my own record today.
The irony. Oh my goodness.
I was just leaving to come call you, and I'm like, well, can I get a copy of my own record that I spent 3 years on? Everybody has one, but I'm signing autographs on these LPs and CDs
You
of
don't
Heaven
even
Comes
have.
Down, but I don't even have a copy. You know,
Well, I know that Bill Palmer and you closely worked with him on producing this album. Why is it so important for you to have such a hand in the music that you make and crafting it?
well, I always produced my own records in the past, mostly my last five records. Long Way Home, Lightning Strikes Again, Hell to Pay. But after I had my surgery and my right hand got paralyzed, as you can see, looks like that, like a claw. And I'm right-handed, so I can't even hold a guitar pick. I can't even use the keyboard on the Pro Tools. So I said, well, I'm screwed. They botched the surgery, paralyzed my right arm, And I'm like, I can't do the record by myself. I need help. And, I'm in Santa Fe. It's not exactly the mecca of recording studios like LA, you get 100. So I found Bill Palmer, and he's actually a country guy, country rock guy. And I thought, well, it might be a good idea to have a different perspective from a guy that's not a heavy rock producer and me together and see what we come up with. And that's what we came up with.
Well, I think the album, start to finish, as you mentioned, it's just hit after hit. And I really think that
Yeah.
Dokken fans are really enjoying this one because it's so start to finish. Everything, every single is just super heavy and super interesting and super filled with great guitar and everything you expect from a Dokken record.
Yeah, Dokken record. And that was the dilemma was, I mean, no offense to other bands, but how many times I hear a song on the radio or Sirius or not much radio left, and you love the song, you love the video, you go out and buy the record, and I go, well, that's a good song. Next song's okay, and the rest I call as filler. The next eight
Mhm.
songs are kind of they pick that cherry, and then you buy the whole dang record, and I don't like the rest of it. And I
Yeah.
say, well, my goal was the impossible. It's like, how do we write a record that every song sounds great, but they're all different? That was a really hard task for me as a songwriter. So I really took 3 years. So I wrote 28 songs for this record, John and I, 28. And we had to narrow it down to our favorites. And, sometimes you write a song, and I go, this is great. I love it. Then 3 days later, I go, eh, you know, you like it at the moment, and then all of a sudden you're like, it's not that great. So that's what happened. So I kept rewriting and rewriting and rewriting. And, I'm trying to be, my age. I didn't want to write a song called It's Not Love or Heartless Heart or, songs about getting jilted and he got dumped. And, I've written plenty of that subject matter in my life. So I said, I want every song to have a story. And it was a hard task. It really was.
Well, you mentioned having so many songs that you created for this album. Have you guys gone back into the studio to start working on another album or even an EP? Or are you focused now just on promoting this album and heading out to play some shows?
Well, there will be no more records. This is it. Because I can't look, there's my hand, normal. Here's my right hand. It's completely crippled. They paralyzed my whole arm. So I can't play guitar anymore. I can't play piano, which really sucked because that was the love of my life. I started playing guitar at 9 years old. And when they paralyzed me on a botched surgery, I said, man, you just really screwed my life up. So I can't play guitar. I can write lyrics. I can sing. We've been touring, but the fact that I can't play guitar anymore, I don't think I'll ever be able to compose any more songs. So I think this is it. This is it.
You're gonna do leave the remaining songs just for your own personal satisfaction?
Well, there are no remaining songs really. We actually had 14 songs for Heaven Comes Down, 14. And we loved the best 14. We loved them all. But the record company did not want to put out 14 songs. I said, why? And they said, well, we're putting it out on vinyl and you only can put, 5 songs aside, 33 minutes. And they didn't want people to say, oh, I can buy the LP with 10 songs, or I can buy the CD with 14 songs. So they only wanted 10 on the CD, and that's it. So we have 4 songs. To answer your question, we have 4 songs that we really love that are in the can. And I told John, I guess I should never say never. We've got 4. John's got 3 or 4 more. I basically depleted everything I had. So I don't know if we'll make another record because I can't play guitar anymore, which really sucks.
No, it's like
It's the
taking a
love of my
piece of your
life.
taking a piece of your heart and just not having the ability to use it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people if I wouldn't have started playing guitar at 9 years old, 10 years old, when I was living in foster homes and I'd been in an orphanage, and I said the guitar saved me. I'd get out of school, sixth grade, seventh grade, and I just go straight home, do my homework, and I go in the garage and sit next to the washing machine with my little amplifier and practice, so nobody could hear me. So that took it away from me. So to take any musician's instrument away from them, it's crushing. It's really depressing. But it's been 3 years and I just got to deal with it. It is what it is. So, but John's a great guitar player. He's got a bunch of ideas. So, we'll see. Right now, I'm concentrating on this record. We only have 5 more shows in the US. Then we head off to Europe in June for a month, and we're playing like Hungary, Czechoslovakia. Oh, I can't say that anymore. It's Czech. They used to always call it Czechoslovakia, and the country split in half. It's kind of funny. You have one side, it's called Czech, and then you walk across the bridge and it's Slovakia.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's kind of weird. But we'll be playing Germany. We're going to Norway, Denmark, Germany, England. We're doing all of Europe. So that's about it. And then we're going to come back and do all festivals. And we're doing festivals all over Europe. Then after that, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, are we going to play America more? I don't know. I just don't know. Nobody can tell. The way the world's going, we might not be here. Between the Ukraine war, you've got the Hamas, you've got a mass murder running Russia for 20 years, Vladimir Putin. I don't know. It's not looking very positive as far as how things are going. It's a very bad time for the planet.
Well, new music helps. So for us, new music helps. So I'm glad that I got a chance to chat with you about this album. Is there something, or what would you like to say to fans and supporters of the incredible music you guys have made over the years and continue to make?
Well, first of all, we've been very lucky. Obviously, I mean, a lot of bands have one hit, two hits in 1984, and then it's over. And so I feel blessed that we didn't have that problem. I mean, I'm very insecure. So every time I make a record, I'm like, what if it fails? What if it fails? What if it fails? So that's why that kind of pushes me along to always try to do the best I can. And I never really wrote songs with George, Jeff, and Mick. Those three would go off and write songs, and then I would be home writing songs by myself. I mean, I think a lot of people thought like Van Halen, like Eddie wrote the music and David Lee Roth wrote the lyrics, but that's not the way it really was. And Dokken, I would write the music too because I'm a guitar player.
Hmm.
I was talking to somebody last night, and he goes, "We didn't even know you played guitar." And I said, "Oh yeah, I play guitar." So or I did. So I don't know what the future holds right now. All I know is I think we did the right thing. I just wanted to write a great record as a going out in style kind of a thing. And COVID was a bad thing, but I said, well, for me, it turned out to be a blessing because we were all stuck at home, just writing music. So John and I were just going back and forth, writing songs. And I think honestly, it sounds bragging, but I don't think there's any bad songs on this record. I really
I,
don't.
I don't either.
Like I said, I'm sure you bought records and you buy it for the song you love. When there was MTV, it's all gone now.
Yeah.
I mean, MTV, remember, used to be 24 hours a day, all music. And now it's all like 90 Days and Pregnant, 90 Day Fiance, 16 and Pregnant, The Jersey Shore. To me, it's all garbage. There's no rock anymore. And the videos they do play is all hip hop, R&B, rappers. It's not my thing. I'm a rock musician. So I don't watch MTV. I mean, what's the point? So there's a lot less media now to get exposure on your record.
Hmm.
In the 80s, I would travel around the world. The record company would send me to London, Japan, Germany, Italy, France, and I would do what they call a press junket.
Yes.
Like instead of me talking to you on FaceTime, I'd be going to all these countries and have these press conferences. I go to the next country, and the next country, and the next country. And, I'd be gone a month doing the press, but those days of that ship's kind of sailed. It's kind of cool. I can be home in my pajamas and I can talk to you
Right.
instead of me sitting here in my car, you know?